Hello. A little while ago, I reviewed the movie Wag the Dog, and I was blown away, as you might recall, in retrospect, by just how much was revealed in that movie, how much it really did serve as a revelation of the method, so to speak, to an extent that went far beyond what I even remembered. In fact, when I saw it for the first time back in the '90s, I was pretty much a normie. I didn't believe in this kind of stuff. I didn't think there was an evil ruling elite that was um, that was up to no good. I just sort of thought that there were I don't know, people who ran for president and ran for senator, and they had their foibles, and they were generally just like everybody else, and um, and that there was some corruption, but that it wasn't on the scale of what I think I generally see to be the case now. So it's very much an eye opener if you see it in the right way. That movie, Wag the Dog, is insofar as how much it shows of what's really going on, how much conscious media manipulation just happens, habitually, casually. Um, it's all there. It's right there in front of your face to see how much media trickery is involved, how much the media is really in bed with the powers that, they're just another branch of the powers that be. They are not the fourth estate. They are not the ones who are going to be, bravely telling us the truth about what's really going on while the government tries to hide it from us. They are as complicit in it as the rest of them, as the other branches of power that are out there. Well, last night I rewatched another movie that I haven't seen for a while, and that's the Manchurian Candidate, the remake that came out in 2004, starring Denzel Washington. Now, this film is not seen as being belonging in the same league as its classic predecessor, with Frank Sinatra and Angela Lansbury, that came out in '62, '63, something like that. Um, but I was, so I'm not evaluating it filmically or cinematically here. I'm not saying that it deserves to get more attention than it has gotten from a filmic or cinematic or an artistic perspective. I still think that the original probably has more to offer as far as that goes, which I haven't seen the original in quite some time, but I'm still pretty confident that is the case. But this remake, which came out in 2004, is also, I would say, it comes in close second to Wag the Dog as far as films that just let the cat out of the bag, that tell us the kind of crazy and evil and awful things that they're really doing, that's happening all the time, all around us, and it's just thrusting it right there in our faces, in the guise of being Wag the Dog was in the guise of being like a kind of satire, I guess, a kind of comedic satire, and the Manchurian Candidate takes the guise of being like a political thriller, but so much of what is revealed in this movie, it kind of blows my mind. Again, in retrospect, again at the time that I saw it as still relatively a normie in 2004, I really didn't think much about mind control. I didn't think much about MK Ultra, and all the other things. I didn't think much about the military-industrial complex and human experimentation, and all of these things that are right there, front and center, in this movie. It's quite incredible, as well as the media orchestrating an event or covering for creating by computer graphics somebody who they end up blaming or calling an assassin. They superimpose the assassin's face and body over the one who is actually the assassin, and they give him a name, and this happens at the very end of the movie. But anyhow, where should I begin with all of this? I think that one reason why this remake of Manchurian Candidate doesn't really have legs as far as people continuing to watch it and see it as relevant now is because I think it was very much geared for 2004, for the 2004 election year cycle, with the war in Iraq, post 9/11, all that stuff going on. I think they were trying to be very topical with everything. One thing I will say, Meryl Streep's performance is really irritating. She's playing the Angela Lansbury part of this overbearing psycho mom who basically controls the life of her son, who is this son of Washington insiders and is this kind of he is the Manchurian Candidate in the proverbial Manchurian Candidate. He's controlled. He's mind controlled, and she plays this role of being this really bitchy, obnoxious, pushy woman. And I guess she does a good job of being annoying. And I would say that I definitely see a bit of Hillary in her performance, which is interesting. But Streep gets praised a lot as being a great actress, and I think in this case it's like there's a touch of overacting. But all the other leads are extremely good, including Denzel Washington, who I've always found is most interesting to watch when he's not just the straight leading man, but when he's kind of a little off kilter. He can play sort of semi crazy surprisingly well, given that he's basically known as the smooth, suave leading man through the years. In this movie, he's a war veteran who's been brainwashed and who's been messed with, and who's been, put under hypnosis and mind control and forced to kill other people while in that state, and then is taken out of that state to the point where he sort of feels normal, but sort of also has this lingering feeling that bad stuff happened to him. And he and the main character, Shaw is his name. I can't remember the actor's name who plays him. But they're in a platoon together, and Shaw is given the role of being the hero who saved their platoon during some ferocious attack. And, it turns out that was all just something that was suggested into these soldiers' minds in order to build up the stature of this guy who was going to become the Manchurian Candidate. And the interesting thing about this movie that in compared to the original is that it's much more honest, in the sense that the enemy is the military-industrial complex and these civilian contractors who have access to this kind of technology that involves mind control and the placement of chips inside of bodies. Yes, they go there. There's a chip that's been placed into these men's bodies, I guess in part to help control them. Although they also can simply be controlled with words, with certain what are they called? I can't remember the name of it, but you know, where you say a certain word, and you know this, and then they go into mind control mode. They go into robot mode. You can control them and make them do whatever you want them to do after you've put them in this state, and you put them in this state by saying these words to them. In this case, it's saying their name, and then saying their full name, and then that repetition of words causes them to just go under. So all sorts of stuff, all sorts of just very sinister stuff involving the military-industrial complex, involving mind control and orchestration of events, and you know, the placement of this Manchurian candidate into this position where he's supposed to through a series of events eventually become the president, and so in that case the president will be fully controlled by these evil forces, this military-industrial complex with all of this sinister technology that seems to have absolutely no conscience, no hesitation about using human beings in experiments and killing, forcing men to kill other men, forcing other men to die, in these experiments. It's all there. It's all there in a very real and raw form. And let's see. What makes it different from the original Manchurian Candidate is, I think that it was harder to be quite so direct about the ravages of the military-industrial complex. To say we have found the enemy and he is us, or not that he's us, but he's those who control us in high places, right? Like the people who really were in control, who really were behind 9/11. They are the ones who actually call the shots, okay? And the original Manchurian Candidate, they made reference to this mind control technology and hypnosis and being able to set people up as assassins against their will by controlling their minds. But in the original, it was the communists. It was the North Koreans who did these experiments on American soldiers that they had captured. So the enemy was shifted to the East, the communist world. They were the ones who were really behind all of these machinations. Whereas in this later movie, this 2004 movie, it's much more honest about, no, the enemy is not. I mean, it's possible that these people are in fact, it's probable that these people are operating all around the world and in countries all around the world. But the ones who are really behind, messing with these grunt level GIs, these poor men, who just got shipped off to battle as cannon fodder and who just probably volunteered because they want to do their part, to fight against terrorism and whatnot, and they're just being ruthlessly controlled and experimented on by the same kind of people who orchestrated all of these events in the first place. So, again, a lot of really revealing stuff, including, as I said, an ending in which the enemy is they use computer technology to superimpose a fictional entity, and give him a name and say he's the enemy, he's the bad guy. He's the one who committed the assassination, because that serves their purposes to do so. And the way that it ends, there's some thwarting of the evil cabal's plans to a degree, and yet they're still pretty much in power, and we're still left there. I should also say there are numerous scenes where we see mind-controlled murders in action. We see these men activated to murder, and one of the murders takes place is a senator who's kayaking in the Potomac, and a mind-controlled person, I won't say who, but one of the couple of mind-controlled people who were shown in the movie, a mind-controlled person comes up and walks into the lake because that's what he's been told to do. Walks right up to him in his suit and tie clothes and stuff, and knocks him over and holds him under the water and drowns him. And then when his daughter runs out, he drowns her as well, just thoughtlessly, because he's a total robot. He's completely under the control of the suggestive powers of the mind control system that he's ensnared in. And so, wasn't there a CIA director who died mysteriously on the Potomac? Very wow. There's a lot there, a lot to this movie, and it's worth seeing if you haven't seen it and you're interested in this stuff. So check it out and let me know what you think. My name's Andy Nowicki. Check out my work at altrightnovelist.com.